You must run into an absolute legal minefield when it comes to this series. I'd imagine everything from defamation to trying not to run afoul of the Human Rights Commission. How do you manage that? Like that must be quite a difficult balance to strike.
It is, and it's typically it's something that no matter where you are in politics, and we work with the staff at One Nation quite a lot with that, with James and Sean and Pauline herself, because they're constantly jumping over legal minefields. But that little, what is it here? Just here, the law degree that I've got there is I actually only practiced for 6.5 weeks in professional practice before I wanted to jump out the window. So if anything, doing this cartoon, I've gotten more use out of that law degree doing this cartoon than I ever did in professional practice. It was quite a boring, morally repugnant job anyway, working in law. I didn't like it, but I much prefer putting it into practice for these cartoons, definitely. And we saw that play out with this week's episode about Giggle v Tickle. Obviously, we wanted to cover that story, and one of the characters that we were potentially going to be talking about is highly litigious. So it's you've got to be careful and making sure that you do things the right way. We don't have a protection of satire here in Australia at all. It's only in common law, which means you have to go to court to exercise that. So if you do get yourself into any trouble, or if you want to play a truth defence when it comes to defamation, you've actually got to go to court for that, which for me, that would absolutely bankrupt me. I don't want to let that known too far and wide, because they'll come after us. But we do try and make sure that we don't get ourselves into too many problems. And at the end of the day, it is a cartoon. So if someone as important as a politician gets too upset about it, well, that seems a bit silly on their end.
Yeah, it's a bit like when I think Meghan and Harry were rumoured to be sort of upset about the South Park episode that was the rumour that they were very upset about it. And I imagine probably Meghan wasn't happy, but people were like, guys, it's a cartoon, you know. I think, isn't it one of the don't you think it's one of actually the greatest compliments ever if you're a public figure, really, to be an object of satire?
Exactly. And to be honest, so James and I, he took me on a bit of a tour of Parliament House one day, and the number of politicians that came up to us once they found out I made the cartoons, they came up and were like, please put me in it, please. These people are sick, Daisy. They're absolutely sick. They want to be in the cartoon. They're crazy people. So now we're very selective about whether you get in it or not. You kind of have to stick your neck out. But there's a lot of conservative politicians as well that were like, please put us in the cartoon. I was like, you've got to do something silly to get in there. You've got to start stuffing up before we put you in there then.
Oh my God. No, I can't imagine a lot of those politicians actually. Maybe they'd publicly protest being in the cartoon, but I think Albo, for instance, is probably secretly quite chuffed that you do that series of cartoons. Has he ever approached you or spoken to you about it?
No, but we have heard that not only he, but a lot of the staff do. We know that ScoMo. So I went over to the ARC conference over in the UK recently.
Oh yes.
So I got to run into a bunch of pollies over there, including Scott Morrison, who we weren't particularly kind to in season one. To be fair, when he was Prime Minister, but he saw the funny side of it. And he's a big fan of satire. Like I said, these people are sick, so they love the coverage, whatever it is.